You have one person in your life who knows everything about you. Every secret, every fear, every embarrassing moment you have ever tried to forget, every dark thought you have whispered at 2 a.m, every wound you have shown to no one else. That person, the one you call your best friend, is the most dangerous person in your life. And the terrifying part is, you handed them that power completely willingly. Before you close this video and tell yourself this doesn't apply to you, stay with me. Because what I am about to tell you is not theory. It is not pessimism. It is human psychology, neuroscience, and real documented cases that will permanently change how you see the word friendship. We are taught from childhood that a best friend is a gift, a blessing, a soul connection. Songs are written about it. Movies are made about it. Entire industries exist selling us the idea that a best friend is the one relationship that will never betray you. But here is what no one tells you. Closeness is not safety. Closeness is exposure. The closer someone is to you, the more they know, the more capable they are of destroying you completely. And your best friend sits at the absolute top of that list. Let us talk about what friendship actually is, not what we wish it were, but what the science says it is. Psychologists define a close friendship as a relationship built on mutual vulnerability, shared history, and deep familiarity. Those 3 things sound beautiful. They are also the exact 3 ingredients needed to cause maximum psychological damage to another human being. Vulnerability means they know your wounds. History means they have watched you fall. Familiarity means they can predict your every move. That is not just friendship. That is a complete psychological profile of you, built over years sitting in someone else's hands. Now here is where it gets deeply uncomfortable. Research in social psychology consistently shows that the people who hurt us most devastatingly in life are not strangers. They are not enemies. They are the people we trusted most. A 2014 study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that betrayal by a close friend causes deeper psychological trauma than betrayal by a romantic partner or a family member. Deeper than a breakup. Deeper than a family betrayal. The best friend wound cuts the furthest. Why? Because with a best friend, you never saw it coming. With a romantic partner, the relationship has defined risk. With family, the tensions are often visible for years. But a best friend? You thought that was the safe place. You thought that was the one relationship that existed outside of danger. And that belief, that beautiful, innocent belief, is exactly what made you so completely vulnerable. Now let us talk about something that most people refuse to admit, the hidden psychology of envy inside a best friendship. Envy is one of the most studied and least discussed emotions in human psychology. And it thrives most not between strangers, but between people who are close. There is a concept in psychology called benign envy versus malicious envy. Benign envy motivates you. Malicious envy wants to tear down what the other person has. And here is the chilling truth about malicious envy. It is most likely to grow in the person who is closest to your success, closest to your progress, closest to your life. Your best friend watches every milestone of your life in real time. Every promotion, every relationship, every moment you level up, they see it happen. They see it before anyone else, and they smile. They congratulate you. They celebrate with you. And then they go home. And when they are alone with their own thoughts, their own mirror, their own silence, something happens that they may not even fully understand themselves. A study from Tilburg University found that people feel the sharpest envy towards someone whose life closely mirrors their own same age, same background, same starting point. Your best friend is that person. They started where you started. They know exactly where you came from. And every step you take ahead of them is felt. Not always consciously, not always with intention, but it is felt. Now let us move into something even darker. The concept of social comparison theory, and how your best friend may be quietly measuring themselves against you every single day. Leon Festinger introduced social comparison theory in 1954. The core idea is this: human beings do not evaluate their own worth in isolation. We evaluate it by comparing ourselves to others. And who do we compare ourselves to most? Not celebrities, not strangers. We compare ourselves to the people we spend the most time with, the people we know best. Your best friend is your primary social mirror. You are theirs. Every day they are around you. Even when nothing is said, a quiet internal calculation is running. Who is winning? Who is falling behind? Where do I stand? Most people never speak this calculation out loud. Many are not even fully aware it is happening. But it shapes every reaction they have toward you. Every compliment, every silence, every small moment of coldness you could never quite explain. That weird silence when you share good news. That slightly flat congratulations. That barely noticeable hesitation before they say they are happy for you. You noticed it. You noticed it every time. You told yourself you were imagining it. You were not imagining it. Now I want to take you deeper. I want to talk about the concept of the frenemy and why this dynamic is far more common inside best friendships than anyone is willing to admit. A frenemy is not a cartoon villain. It is not someone who is obviously fake. A real frenemy is someone who genuinely cares about you, and also, underneath that care, cannot fully bear to see you succeed. Both things are true at the same time. That is what makes it so hard to name. That is what makes it so hard to leave. Dr. Julianne Holt-Lunstad, a psychologist at Brigham Young University, found in her research that ambivalent relationships, relationships that are sometimes supportive and sometimes undermining, are actually more stressful on the human body than purely negative relationships. Let that register. A relationship that hurts you sometimes and is good sometimes is harder on your nervous system than one that is just consistently bad. Because your body never gets to fully relax. It never gets to decide, is this safe or not? It stays in a constant low-level state of alert, waiting, never fully knowing what version of this person is about to walk through the door. Your immune system suffers. Your sleep suffers. Your mental health quietly erodes, not from big dramatic events, but from the constant low hum of not quite feeling safe in a relationship you thought was your safest one. Now let us talk about real cases. Because theory is one thing, but human history is full of documented, devastating examples of best friend betrayal that went far beyond what most people believe possible. In 2017, a woman in Florida discovered that her best friend of 11 years had been systematically feeding false information about her to her employer, small, believable lies, delivered carefully over months that eventually led to her being let go from her job. The best friend never confronted her, never showed hostility, continued to meet for coffee, to text good morning, to show up at her birthday, while destroying her quietly from the side. The duality is the most terrifying part. The ability to hold genuine affection in one hand and deliberate destruction in the other simultaneously without visible conflict. In 2019, a man in the United Kingdom came forward with a story that had taken him 6 years to fully understand. His closest friend, someone he had known since childhood, had spent years carefully, subtly isolating him from other relationships, not through obvious control, through small, casual comments. I don't know why you hang out with them. They always talk about you behind your back. You deserve better friends than those people. I'm the only one who actually understands you, word by word, conversation by conversation, year by year, until the man had no one left except the one person who had engineered his isolation. By the time he recognized what had happened, he had lost his social network, his confidence, and most painfully, years of his life. This pattern, the systematic isolation performed under the guise of loyalty and love, has a clinical name: coercive control. And it does not only happen in romantic relationships. It happens in friendships. It happens in best friendships. Psychologists Dr. Emma Katz and Dr. Evan Stark, whose work expanded the understanding of coercive control beyond romantic contexts, note that the tools of this pattern, isolation, dependency creation, identity erosion, are just as present in close friendships. Isolation, dependency creation, identity erosion. 3 quiet weapons. No raised voice required. No visible wound left on the surface. And the cruelest part? The person doing it often does not experience themselves as a villain. They experience themselves as devoted, as the best friend you have ever had. Now I want to walk you through something that will completely reframe how you think about trust. It is called the vulnerability paradox. Human beings are neurologically wired to bond through vulnerability. When you share something private, something raw, something painful, your brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. You feel closer. You feel seen. You feel safe. This is evolution's design. Vulnerability builds tribes. Vulnerability builds loyalty. Vulnerability kept our ancestors alive, but evolution did not design a safeguard for what happens when the person receiving your vulnerability is not who you believe them to be. Because every secret you shared was not just a moment of connection. It was data. It was information. It was ammunition stored quietly, never forgotten, available to be used the moment the relationship changes. And relationships change. That is the part we never want to accept. People change. Circumstances change. Success divides. Money divides. Love divides. Life pulls people into different directions, and sometimes in the space created by that distance, something in the relationship quietly curdles. And the person who holds all of your secrets does not automatically become a stranger when that curdling happens. They remain someone who knows everything. They just no longer care about protecting it. Dr. Robin Dunbar, the British anthropologist and psychologist famous for Dunbar's number, the theory that human beings can only maintain genuine social bonds with approximately 150 people, found something fascinating in his extended research. He found that of all the close relationships in a person's life, the ones most likely to cause severe emotional damage were those in the innermost circle, the top 5. The people you call your closest friends. Not because those people are bad, but because the higher the trust, the higher the access, and the higher the access, the higher the potential damage when things go wrong. Now I want to address something that is sitting in your mind right now, because I know what you are thinking. You are thinking about your best friend, the specific person, and you are telling yourself, but not them. Not my person. I know them. They would never. Every single person who has ever been betrayed by their best friend said those exact words before it happened. Every single one. Now let us go further. Because there is a layer of this that almost nobody talks about, the neuroscience of what happens to your brain when someone you deeply trust turns against you. When you experience betrayal by a close friend, your brain processes it through the same neural pathways as physical pain. This is not a metaphor. This is literal neuroscience. A landmark study by Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA demonstrated using fMRI scans that social rejection and physical pain activate the same regions of the brain, specifically the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex and the anterior insula. The same part of your brain that screams when you break a bone, screams when your best friend betrays you. And unlike a broken bone, this wound has no cast, no visible injury, no recovery timeline that other people can see and acknowledge. You are expected to function, to go to work, to smile, to answer when people ask how you are, while carrying an injury that science has confirmed is neurologically identical to physical trauma. Now let us talk about something called the betrayal trauma theory, developed by psychologist Jennifer Freyd at the University of Oregon. Freyd's theory proposes that when someone we depend on deeply for safety and connection turns against us, our mind sometimes goes into a specific kind of shock that she calls betrayal blindness. Betrayal blindness is not stupidity. It is not weakness. It is a survival mechanism. The mind, to preserve a relationship it depends on, actually blocks its own ability to fully recognize that the betrayal is happening. It is the reason you kept making excuses. The reason you explained away the signs. The reason you told yourself you were being paranoid, even when every instinct you had was screaming at you that something was wrong. Your brain was not betraying you. Your brain was trying to protect the attachment. The problem is that the thing it was protecting was already gone. Let us now talk about something that happens in the aftermath of a best friend betrayal that almost no psychological resource prepares you for. The grief of losing a best friend is not the same as other grief. When a romantic relationship ends, there are cultural scripts for it. Songs, movies, friends who rally around you. I'm sorry, breakups are so hard. The world acknowledges that loss. When a best friendship ends, especially through betrayal, there is almost complete social silence. People do not know what to say. There are no breakup songs for this, no ceremony, no acknowledged mourning period. You lost someone who knew your childhood, who knew your parents, who remembered the version of you that existed before life got complicated. And that loss has no social name. Psychologists call this disenfranchised grief. Grief that society does not fully recognize or validate. And the research is clear that disenfranchised grief is harder to process, harder to move through, and more likely to leave lasting psychological imprints precisely because it is invisible. You grieve alone, without the language for it, without the acknowledgement for it, carrying the specific weight of a loss that was both a friendship and a version of yourself that only existed in that relationship's reflection. Now I want to bring this back to something constructive. Because this video is not designed to make you trust no one. It is not designed to leave you in fear. Understanding danger is not the same as surrendering to it. The goal here is not paranoia. The goal is consciousness. There is a concept in psychology called secure attachment, and it is the model for how healthy, aware human connection actually works. It does not require blind trust. It requires informed trust. Informed trust means you value the relationship. You invest in it. You show up for it. But you also maintain your own sense of self, your own network, your own psychological independence that does not collapse if the friendship does. You do not hand your entire identity to one person. You do not allow one relationship to become the container of all your worth, all your history, all your self-perception. Because when that happens, when one person becomes everything, you do not just lose a friendship when it ends. You lose yourself. And rebuilding from that is one of the hardest things a human being can do. Watch for the patterns. Not with fear, but with clarity. Watch for the friend who only appears when you are struggling. Watch for the one whose energy shifts when you share good news. Watch for the one who never celebrates you publicly, but loves to have access to your private life. Watch for the one who makes you feel slightly smaller after every interaction, not dramatically, just consistently, quietly smaller. These are not dramatic red flags. They are quiet ones. The quiet ones are the ones that matter most. And if you recognize someone in this video, if a face came to mind during any of these descriptions, I want you to sit with that. Do not dismiss it. Do not explain it away. Sit with it. Because the most dangerous thing you can do with a feeling that important is ignore it. The person you should be most aware of in your life is not a stranger in the dark. It is not someone you have never met. It is the person sitting across from you who knows your name, your wounds, your history, and who you have never once thought to question. Not everyone is dangerous, but everyone is capable. And the difference between wisdom and blindness is simply whether you are willing to know that. Stay conscious, stay clear, and choose who holds your story very, very carefully.